What's going on, guys? This is Erie Better Beer Bureau back at you with another beer review. I'm Pat.
And I'm Maury. Today we got one from Goose Island out of Chicago, Illinois. This is the Muddy, which supposedly is inspired by the Chicago blues scene. And it is an Imperial Stout that weighs in at 9%, brewed with licorice, Belgian dark sugar, and molasses. So we're going to get into it. This is a new release from them, and we'll let you know what we think about it. Well, I get a little bit of the licorice.
And there's a definite dark fruit aroma on this.
Absolutely.
Too. Much more pronounced than I'd expect from an Imperial Stout.
Yep.
But that may be an artifact of the molasses.
Right, yeah, that's what I got, the sweetness from the molasses on my second go there. Not your typical coffee and roast or anything. It is dark fruits, molasses, a hint of licorice.
There's a hint of a chocolate aroma on this too.
Chocolate, yeah. Yeah, I can see that, but not a real dark, intense chocolate.
It's like a candy chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But actually, the more I sniff this, the more I'm getting that kind of anise aroma from the licorice.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting it. It's no mistake. Cheers. Well, there's definitely a sweetness to it.
Yeah. There's also a roastiness way in the back end of this beer, but you have to wait through for everything else going on in this beer to happen before you actually get to it.
And I get the licorice flavor kind of hanging on at the end, clinging to the palate. It's on the finish a little bit, but then the more the beer sits on your tongue, I'm getting kind of a unique flavor that I'm gonna kind of, check to the licorice. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, there's definitely more sweetness on the front end of this beer than I'm used to in an Imperial Stout, and I definitely think that's from the licorice and the molasses for sure. And there is a roastiness. It's not really. I mean, I can't really detect much of a hop presence in this beer. There's a hint of like a charred kind of flavor on the back end of this, and something that
to me, this beer is not a little bit. It's pretty thin.
Yeah,
thin especially for something that clocks in at 9%.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess I've had strong ales that are on the thin side, but this. For me, this is more of the body of a regular stout. Maybe even a hearty, robust porter. Definitely doesn't have that Imperial Stout body that we've come to know in American craft beer today.
I'm actually going to have to give this beer a 3.25 out of 5. I was kind of expecting some good stuff out of this beer. We know Goose Island knows how to make a great Imperial Stout. Sure. Nice, thick, hearty, rich in flavor. And this really doesn't live up to that kind of reputation at all. From the second I started drinking it, I'm looking for those thick, hearty Imperial Stout notes. And they're just not there. There is, it says, right on the bottle, an Imperial Stout amplified sweetness with licorice notes. I do get the amplified sweetness and the licorice notes. But, there's like the mild roastiness that you can't quite put your finger on just what kind of flavor it is. There's no hop presence that I can detect. And I'm really looking for that heartiness, that thickness, that really pleasant feeling that you get out of drinking a good Imperial Stout. And you're going to look for it all day drinking this beer, but you're not going to find it. So every time I sip this beer, it's pleasant. There aren't any horribly off flavors in it or anything. I'm still getting a hint of the metallic flavor at the end. But I'm always kind of looking for more when I'm drinking this beer. So I'm going to give it a 3.25 out of 5.
All right. I think I'm going to actually lower you one, and I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I was going back and forth between 3 and 3.25. But this thing drinks like a Great Lakes, what's their porter? Edmund Fitzgerald. That's I was drawing a blank. That's what this drink's like. That thing easily has the body that this thing has. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's the biggest letdown. Now, I don't expect this beer necessarily to be Bourbon County, because just because they brew that beer doesn't necessarily mean every dark beer they brew or every stout they brew has to be like that. But man, I was expecting more than this. Mm-hmm. It is pretty thin, and the flavors on it are okay, but like you said, there is a lingering flavor. I mean, you said metallic earlier in the review. I could almost see to where someone might come to that conclusion. I mean, it's not a gross beer, and that's why I'm still going to give it an average score. But for me to go much above average at all with this one, I can't do it.
You're reaching for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Till next time. Cheers. Make up your mind.
I know.
Go with your gut, man.
Okay.
What's the beer saying to you? That's what you do. That's what I'm going to do.